Salute to John Wall, man. Salute to a real one. RedNationBlogga back again. Another video, spontaneous video, unexpected video. Wasn't expected to be making this tonight, but I knew it was coming. I knew that the Rockets it was unlikely that they were going to find a trade partner. When you know that a guy's in the last year in his contract, when teams know that a guy is looking to be dealt, you know, the odds of him being traded when he's making $47 million in the final year of his contract is slim to none. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. 20 points, 8 assists, 6 assists his last year as a Houston Rocket, where he played, I believe, like 37 games, just a shade under 40 games. A lot of it was load managed. It wasn't like he was necessarily hurt in a 70-game season. And, of course, last year we all know they opted to sit him out for a majority of the season. And, you know, that was that on that. But, you know, obviously it was news going on that he wanted to come back. Houston allegedly wanted him back, but they wanted him to come off the bench behind Kevin Porter Jr. John Wall wanted to start. Blase. We all know the story. But we're here now. Season just ended. Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports just tweeted out that the Houston Rockets and John Wall have agreed to a buyout to make him a now unrestricted free agent. And the two destinations that I think just John Wall needs to just run to are the Los Angeles Clippers and the Boston Celtics. Those two teams need a point guard. Reggie Jackson is formidable. Reggie Jackson is really, really good. The past 2 seasons, he's turned his career around. He's turned the narrative of his name around after like some down seasons in Detroit, where we kind of forgot about him after he left OKC, but he hooped that last year. You know, a little bit this season, but the year prior to that, the 2021 postseason, Reggie Jackson was on fire. He really was playing good basketball. Him and Paul George have a good relationship, but John Wall is a quintessential point guard. He was a #1 overall pick coming out of Kentucky for a reason. He has like 3 or 4 seasons straight of like 20-10, 18-10, 19-12. He is that guy. You know what I'm saying? In his prime, I remember there was this running joke that they used to say, well, John Wall is Russell Westbrook with a brain. You know, and that's what people used to actually say about John Wall, man. But I just feel like the Clippers and the Celtics are the best landing spots for him. The Celtics, man, I mean, look no else but the finals. And even like a lot of people want to dissect that series because that's the series that they ultimately lost, and that's the last series that we saw them play. But even if you go back to the Miami series, you could tell they needed a point guard. Even if you go back to the Milwaukee series, you can see that they needed a point guard. In my opinion, even if you go back to the Nets series where they swept the Nets, you could tell that they needed a point guard. There were some games where they just struggled closing. Ultimately, some games they ended up winning. Ultimately, some games they ended up losing. And they was able to, you know, outwill their way to a win in the end. But at the end of the day, I just think that John Wall helps both of those teams. I feel like those should be the favorites. I feel like both of those teams need to be on the phone with Klutch Sports right now, trying to get that guy signed and trying to get him in the organization as fast as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because both of those teams kind of have similar top 2 players at the top with the archetypes. You got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Neither guy are great playmakers. They can play make, but they aren't natural playmakers. And then on the other side, even to a lesser degree, you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who also, they can play make, but that's not their strength. And John Wall is that guy. You know, going back 2 years ago, I always said, like when I looked at the Celtics play and I saw them go to the conference finals in the bubble season, I was like, they need to get a point guard. I feel like they should have went to go get Chris Paul from OKC. I feel like they should have dealt Kemba Walker in 2 firsts or however many first-round picks it took, and they should have brought Chris Paul to Boston, and I feel like that would have been the step that they needed. Ultimately, they didn't do that, and they still ended up going to the finals. But I pretty much think that they could have beat the Warriors if they had a Chris Paul instead of a Marcus Smart running point guard. And that's no disrespect to Marcus Smart. Obviously, he got them there. But I'm just saying. John Wall, I just want to say as a Rockets fan, before you were a Houston Rocket, long before you were a Houston Rocket, you were my favorite non-Rockets player. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. If it wasn't James Harden, it was John Wall. I just love the way he played basketball. I love the way he was a maestro in the pick and roll. I love how he could hit passes and get guys in their pockets. I love his mid-range pull-up. I love his behind the back dunk. He could dunk with either hand. I love his athleticism. I love his defense, his tenacity. And I always felt like he got a bad rep, and I always felt like they never got it together in DC because Bradley Beal got there a little bit too late. And they never was able to find that wing, and they never were able to find that bench to get them over the hump. It was either them losing to Toronto or them losing to the Celtics, and it was ultimately too much pressure on John Wall as a number one option when Bradley Beal wasn't the player then that he is now. And I really feel like this guy has an opportunity to turn the page, change the narrative. Going to a team like the Clippers where Kawhi and PG are going to do the heavy lifting scoring-wise every night, and all you got to do is facilitate, or going to a team like the Boston Celtics where it's the same thing. Night in, night out, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to do the heavy lifting when in terms of scoring, and you are going to be the guy that is going to, just facilitate, just keep guys involved, keep role players involved, get downhill, get to the free throw line. I love John Wall. As a Rockets fan, it was an absolute pleasure having him here, even though he didn't play a lot. I know, the last season, it wasn't all roses. It wasn't all balloons and peaches. I know the organization and some people in the fan base wasn't happy with the way that they were handling it. I particularly love to watch John Wall play, but I understood the bigger picture. I understood the assignment. But all in all, I just want to say, best wishes to John Wall. I hope you land with a contender. I hope y'all if you go to the Clippers, I got y'all in the finals. That's the pressure I'm going to put on you, John Wall, as my non-Rocket favorite player. If you go to the Clippers, I got y'all going to the finals. How about that? That's pressure. But I'm going to end it on that note. As always, like and subscribe. Thank you, guys. RedNationBlogga signing out.